Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. Of course, we have Otuekon Franklin, who's the director for Crown in Akwa Ibom State, joining us. It's important to get the stance of the civil society organizations where some issues are concerned. And as of this morning, we've widely reported, even on the front pages of our national dailies, that the 10 hashtag End Bad Governance protesters that were arrested and detained by the Nigerian Police Force have been granted a 10 million naira each bail. So it raises several questions. One will ask, is bail not free in Nigeria? But of course, we know that there are different clauses as it affects different areas. Good morning, Otuekon Franklin. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Oya. Good morning, Emmanuel. You guys are doing great. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much. All right, so we are looking at this issue. I think it's the two basic things on our table. The bail that has been granted to the 10 protesters that were arrested. Is this good news, or we should be worried?
All right, I listened to your paper review, and I think I just need to make a few comments, passive comments, before I get to the issue of the day. First off is the issue of IMF advising the federal government to mitigate the hardship in the country with respect to the fuel subsidy removal. I think this is what we've been saying. If the federal government had been proactive, had been people-oriented, had been have had empathy for Nigerians, the first thing that would have been done would have been to, first of all, put in place certain mechanisms to address hardship that will be as a result of the fallout of the fuel subsidy removal. Today, fuel prices is very high. You can, in Akwa Ibom State, you will have, I bought fuel 1,300 naira. I made some contact to my other offices in some states. Like in Nasarawa State, fuel is 1,050 naira to 1,100 in some stations. In Cross River State, that is Calabar, you have fuel for 1,000 to 1,050 naira. That's 1,000 naira to 1,000. Then in Port Harcourt, fuel is 1,300 to 1,350. In Abuja, fuel is 950 to 1,000. In Lagos, fuel is 850 to 900. But in Akwa Ibom State, fuel is between 1,350 to getting up to 1,500. And I bought 1,300 depending on where you're buying it from. So you can imagine the hardship and the different prices you will get across the country. So the impact is very high, is very harsh, and that has made the government to be seen, to not to have empathy for the citizens. So for me, I think the IMF call is in order, even though we believe that the federal government is implementing IMF policies, but that they have come out to share in our tears, in our cries, I think the call is in order. Then to the issue of the bail that has been granted the 10 NSAS protesters. You recall I was here last week, and I told you clearly that I'm sure that the court will stand up to resist every attempt to truncate our democracy and every attempt to transform our democracy or transfer our democracy to dictatorial practice, that the court will resist every attempt for anyone to operate without the rule of law. This is record development. The 10 protesters who were arraigned on charges that the federal government, added, including such like intimidating the government of President Tinubu, sponsoring of treason, conspiracy, and the like. I think the court has, come up with a bail condition that we think is in order for 10 of them, and this will go to show a very strong signal to the government that you cannot intimidate the citizens who are acting in line with the Constitution, because, like I said last week, the Constitution guarantees the freedom of speech. Section 39, Section 40, freedom of assemblage, Section 41, freedom of movement. And so those who protested peacefully did that in line with our constitution, and I think that the court has acted with the sense, every sense of justice, and has shown that the court is actually protecting our democracy.
So you're actually saying that you are in favor of them being given a 10 million naira bill, because one would imagine this criminalization of protest in Nigeria has brought to bear by the Tinubu-led administration. We must say to a very large extent it has been unheard of in this particular magnitude. So there will be Nigerians that will think, why didn't the courts just quash the case? Why didn't we see a total cancellation? Why are they even granted bail? Now, when they grant bail, it means that when they've been granted bail, it means that, you know, the case is still ongoing. They're just not going to be in detention. And for that, they had to spend 10 million. Ime was asking earlier, when you look at those 10 protesters, do they want 10 million, each of them, to be able to produce that? Like, will they really be able to produce 10 million naira each just to get a bail? Wouldn't this have been done differently?
Well, I would want to say that since the matter is in court, the parties will not just be set, will not just be asked to go. There will be need for them to for the matter to be argued. What actually was before the court, as at the last sitting, was the issue of their bail, and this is what was before the court. And so the court has given its pronouncement, and now we are the first pronouncement is for them to be granted bail. And so the bail condition, even though you might say is harsh, even though you might say is stringent, well, it is a good start. The other one, it can be the lawyers can approach the court for what is called bail variation, to vary the conditions if the conditions are too harsh. So for us, we think that the bail granted them is in order, but for the conditions, no matter how stringent they could be, the parties could approach the court again to ask for variation. So that's what I think is done. Now that aside, yes, you can't just go and quash the matter like you say. The court needs to, the matter needs to be heard. The parties need to, the government needs to be, put up their facts, as well as the parties will put up their defense. Then at the end of the day, the court will now, make its pronouncement. So it is a step-by-step adjudication. The first thing that was before the court was for the parties to be granted bail, which the court reserved its ruling till yesterday. And yesterday the court came up and ruled and granted them bail and gave that they should pay 10 million naira for each of them, making it to be 100 million naira for the 10 of them. So what is now left if the condition, and the court also went ahead to bar them from further protesting. If the bail conditions are stringent, it is now the duty of the lawyers of the parties to approach the court and ask for what is called bail variation. When that is done, the court could further, reduce the conditions that we are given for the bail. So that is the process of the law. I think it's in order. It is better than the court turning down their bail application and then still keeping them in custody. So for us in the civil society group, we are happy that the court has put up human face, and the court was determined to protect democracy. The court was prepared to operate within the rule of law, and the court stood up to defend the rights of citizens by granting them bail.
Now, you're talking about the courts defending the rights of the citizen. Now, with this in place, does it seem like the courts, through the federal government, through the court, is trying to stifle the right of other citizens, protesting and asking for good governance? Because it looks like the government of the day do not want people to protest. Because if people are protesting and you're slamming them, 10 million naira bill, this is like telling every other person, this is like a deterrent. If you want to protest, this is what that is going to be in place for you. What do you think about this?
Well, for us in the CSOs, we believe that the government is, like we'll be discussing soon, is becoming more dictatorial. The government is trying to intimidate its citizens, even when the government is doling out harsh policies, even when the government is not considerate in her policy, and the government is not willing to listen to Nigerians. And then when Nigerians come up to demand for good governance, they will be arrested and slammed with, frivolous allegations and frame up charges. Nigerians are still determined to ensure that our voices are heard, even beyond the shore of Nigeria. The president, like I have said last week, is one of us, is one of the leaders of protesters in this country. He has led other protests in this country. He understands, he knows what we are saying. He knows that the pro-democracy activists like us will never give up. We will continue to hold his government to his promises. We will continue to hold his government to do what is right, and then hold the government accountable. No matter the level of intimidation, no matter the level of harassment and the rest, using the agencies of state, we will continue to speak out, we will continue to demand for governance and demand to get it done rightly in this country. So no amount of intimidation, no amount of harassment can stop the voices of Democrats, the voices of activists who fought for democracy, the voices of those who fought the military, who ensured that the military left the seat for civilians to take over the running of this country. The president is a beneficiary of the struggle that we have fought. He was part of it. So he will not now say, having climbed the ladder, he will now remove the ladder and say no more protest, and then begin to smack us with frivolous allegations and charges and make us feel that we can no longer have our voices. Our voices will not be heard till the day his tenure ends as government of this country.
Okay, I think at this point we'll just have to keep our fingers crossed as to where, how this particular case is going to build. I'm personally concerned also in observing that, the 10 of them are able to meet the bail requirement and, go ahead with their lives. But I think a very, very strong clause is in saying they are being deterred from going ahead with any form, participating in any form
or further demonstration.
Remember that, there are conversations of a protest, being geared towards the 1st of October. Now, whether there is still going to be the spearheads or other people who are going to spearhead this, just like you may said, is this going to get in the way of every Nigerian, thinking that there is no way to call the attention of the Nigerian government through protest anymore?
I can assure you, like I said earlier, that Nigerians will continue to hold each government accountable. Nigerians who fought the military, the Nigerian spirit is in us. The same us that fought the military junta and ensured that the military handed over government to the civilian are still going to ensure that the right things are done. We are not at war with the government of President Bola Tinubu. The same us that protested against the government of President Goodluck Jonathan, the same us that protested against the government of Olusegun Obasanjo when he attempted to remove subsidy, the same us who protested against the government of Yar'Adua and the rest of it are still going to protest, demanding for good governance. All we are asking for is you have taken an oath of office to defend our constitution, to protect our constitution. And what does the constitution says? It says that the primary focus of government is to provide welfare and security for its citizens. Now, you have sworn to uphold the constitution as a government. Have you been able to uphold the constitution to the letter? Have you provided welfare for your citizens? Have you provided security to your citizens? Have you done what you are supposed to do as enshrined in your constitution, in our constitution, which you swore to uphold? That is what we are simply saying. Nobody is Nobody is asking for his removal. Nobody is asking for him to resign. We are simply asking him to fix the economy. If you look at the point that we are reared out by the protesters during the end bad governance protest, there is none of the demand asked for the end of the government. No. We are simply asking to end hunger. We are simply asking to end bad leadership. We are simply asking to end insecurity and crime that are being carried out by criminal elements in the northeast and even in the south and every part of the country. Nobody was asking for the government to resign, which would have been the extreme. So, coming up to intimidate Nigerians, we are simply asking you to do what you promised to do, what you swore in our constitution to do.
All right.
And you are coming out to intimidate. It's not democratic of you as a president who actually had done a similar thing to the past government.
All right. It's a serious case. Well, since the Afeni Ferry have already, accused him of, starting to fast them, we'll see how this takes the administration of the president. But we'll keep our fingers crossed as this continues to develop. Thank you so much, Otreko Franklin, for giving perspective to this particular issue this Thursday morning.
My pleasure, anytime.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right.